Hello and welcome back to the Blade of Akai channel. In today's video we're taking a look at the hidden scientist mission here on A.R.I.S. You get this mission by finding the first scientist that you come across. You just interact with it and you get the mission, and it then starts tracking all of the scientists that you found. I've already completed the mission, and unfortunately when you view the mission in the completed log, it still doesn't show you all of the ones that you found. But thankfully, we've got waypoints to all of them. And so I'm going to show you where each of them are. Now, I think a couple of them are on this, three are on this island. So that makes this kind of first stage kind of easy. So, I think the first one I will show is the one in the north, and then we'll work our way back down and we'll do this one over here. So we're going to go and find Charles first, then Beatrix, and then Leifi. Now the waypoints to all of these will be in the video description, so please look for those when you watch the video, and then you can be able to kind of just copy those into your game and then get the waypoints. But without further ado, I'm going to travel to the north and show you the first one. And as you travel to the north, I think the best thing to do really is move away from the road, hugging the cliffs around Ironhaven, and just immediately get to the cliffs on the north shore, and then literally just follow those around, because the weak Verderons, you know, they don't aggro very easy, whereas the defunct drones will aggro a bit easier. So yeah, get to the cliff straight away, and then literally just follow this around, and you can see the way marker there. Right, so we've just come to the particular bit of the coast where Charles lives, and you can see there's actually a kind of camouflaged, netted off area down here, which kind of makes it obvious for you. Then just head down to the beach. And we might get some warnings here about going in the water, even though we're nowhere near it. And there is Charles. RIP. Okay. So that's Charles. We're going to head back south again now. And this time, well, I'll go back along the coast, and then I'll meet with the road. And then immediately as we hit the road, we're going to be kind of going off left and heading across country again. But we'll pick up when I get down there. Okay, we're back to the road just by Ironhaven, so we can see Ironhaven just over there, like so. And what we're going to do is we're going to hug this hill to the left here. We do have mortar wrecks here, and we are backflipping as well. We're going to hug this hill over to the way marker. So we've got mortar wrecks on the hill. Hopefully we don't aggro too many. They're pretty slow, so they normally kind of disappear off radar pretty quick. But I find if we hug the hill, then we're not going to be aggroing drones which are down there, because they've got a ranged attack. So they're more likely to kind of aggro and hit you. And if you're using something like a hoverboard, you know, you don't get many hits before the hoverboard is dead. So try not to aggro as much. I mean, you could come down here in a pit bull instead and just, you know, YOLO it, but this is kind of easier. So we're just going to keep hugging this, and then we're going to drop down here, pressing back as we drop down, which kind of slows things down. There we go. And then go over this way, and we have this little cove here, like so, and we've got our next scientist, and this one is Beatrix. So alas, poor Beatrix, who who died, I think, because of the toxic ocean, but that's just a guess. Anyway, we're on to our next one, which is at the Morlatron crater, just down that way. I would, if you don't get stuck like this, I think the way they kind of handle you stopping you going into the water with a vehicle needs a little bit of work, because I think it's monitoring your Z position, and I don't think that's the right way of going around it, to be honest. I think they need to just put a kind of a wall, a barrier instead, and do it that way, because the depth thing, you kind of hit that when you're nowhere near water. Anyway, I'm just going to straight shot it through here, but the safer way would be to get back out to the road, follow the road down, and then cut across from, there's an outpost just here, Bracket, and you can get from that to the north end of the crater pretty quickly. Right, here we go. Here's some Morlatrons already, but we want to head over this way now, because the crater's over here. We've got this big trunk, fallen trunk here. There's quite a few red dots on the radar. I'm just going to YOLO it in down here. We do have the sample mission today, so we're going to grab the sample quickly. I'm going to do this. We're already aggroing. Bring a FAP. Get your sample if you've got that. And then down here, you will find an scientist. Just here. I can't remember what this one was called. Is it Rosalind, maybe? I can't remember. But there is another scientist. Oh, no, I think this one's Leifi. Leifi. At this point, I just jump in the water and take toxic ocean death. And we go back to Bracket. Which one was this? My waypoint's slightly off for this one. Was it? Yeah, it was Leifi. Okay, we're back at the outpost, but now we basically just need to go back to Ironhaven, and then we're going to head over to Bianca for Gregor, I think? No, Luther. Okay, so I'll pick up with you when I get back to Bianca. Okay, we've arrived here at Bianca. So Luther is down with the Spina, but I think really the easiest way to get down there, or the kind of safest route to get down there, is to kind of fly along the cliff. I say fly, we can't fly. To go along the cliff with all the Mortarex, because they're slow. I guess, to be honest, the Spina are actually quite slow, so you could probably just go straight down the sand. In fact, let's go and do that. We'll just go through the sandbar here. And then we just basically head all the way down, trying not to aggro mobs. And we're just basically looking for an opening in the cliff wall that we're going to go through. Okay, we had a lot of red dots to get through there, but thankfully the Spina don't aggro so easy, so we managed to get through them quite nicely. But if you do struggle, I do recommend coming down through the cliffs, and then you can pop down past the outpost in the south of this kind of peninsula, and then just come down this ramp and then head over here. And this is what you're looking for. There's kind of a cave opening in the cliff, and we're just going to head through here. And our scientist is going to be here on the left, so we go through, and just here, look, see if we can get up with the snowboard. There we go. Luther, rest in peace. So obviously was attacked by Spina whilst investigating the eggs. So it's going to be on to our next one. So what I would recommend from here is just basically going all the way back to Bianca. And then what's the logical route here? I think I'm going to address this one. So I think we'll head to Delphine and then just go along the road. But this one's in the Primarnaut kind of camp, so it can be tricky to get to this one. This next one is a little bit different to the others, but you'll see that in a minute. Okay, we're here at Delphine. So what we're going to do is just follow the sand through here up until the road, and then we're going to follow the road all the way along. And you can see my cursor over the map. But yeah, we're going to follow the road all the way along to just after the junction to the robot base. There's a broken down convoy of cargo here, which is surrounded by bots that have attacked it. We kind of want to cut off to the right just before that and head up the hill. And that takes us to the Primarnaut base. So I'll pick up with you when I get to the cargo truck that's on the road. Okay, we're at the junction that takes you off up to the broadcaster's instance, just up there. There is actually two ways to get to this particular scientist. So you can go the route I'm going through the Primarnaut base, or you can go up behind the robot base towards the Magma Kuma spawn. And from the Magma Kuma spawn, you can actually come around the back end of this volcano up here, and just drop down towards the scientists. And you'll see how that kind of works. That makes sense. So yeah, there's two ways. It's just, I think it's probably more difficult to go that way because you'll end up getting bot aggro as you go up that way. I think this tends to be a bit easier. However, it depends on how lucky you are with the Primarnaut spawn. These are not the smallest Primarnauts in the world, so they can get a bit aggro-y, and if they've spawned all across the kind of the northern side of their camp, it makes it a little bit more tricky. But there are ways around it, and like I've said many times, having a Strider Mark II for this planet is very, very beneficial. So we're coming up into the Primarnaut spawn now. I can see red dots right there, but yeah, we've moved forward and there are red dots here. So I'm going to swap vehicles and get the Strider Mark II out. Oh, there is someone hunting here. That's always another benefit, is if someone's out here hunting, then you can just kind of either ask or wait for them to clear a path for you. But if you come up this way, you kind of avoid aggroing a bit. I mean, they are right the way over here, aren't they, these red dots? But what you want to do is get out this end. Now you can see there, that is actually the intended route, because there's actually a ramp down to it from the Magma Kuma spawn. But I think this is just quicker. So if you've got a Strider, this is going to be easier. And we're going to go all the way down here, down to the beach, pressing backwards all the time down here just to keep it, keep the hovercraft under control. And away we go. I'm going to head this way. Whoa. Unintended damage. And what I recommend at this point is dismounting. Dismounting, you don't want any accidents here. Dismounting, running through here, up this little path which leads you to behind the waterfall. Now this is kind of what makes this one a little bit different. None of the others are like this one, apart from one, and we'll get to that one at the very end. So this one is, I can't remember the name of this one now. Marie, I think it was. Yeah, so RIP Marie. There's also a scribbled note. I'll leave you to read that. I'm not going to spoil that for you. But yeah, you can read that and get the next scientist. And then what I tend to do, well, I've done it once. But what I would do is then just jump in the ocean at this point and take Insta Death Taxi. That will bring us out here. and we can carry on our journey round to well, we don't want to go to that one yet. What we want to do is head over to A.R.I.S, really. Okay, we're back here at A.R.I.S now. So from here, we're going to head out this way. We're not going to go down that bridge. We're going to go head out to the west here, and then to the south. So head out of here, and then we just want to kind of head this way. There should be a bridge just here. Here it is. So we're going for, what's the next one? Evelyn. So Evelyn is in the lava area. But that one kind of lends into, not quite nicely, getting Rosalind afterwards. And I'll show you why in a minute. So basically you want to go up this grass ramp here. We've got Magma Kuma spawn on the left. Like so. Now Evelyn is over on the left here. So what we need to do is kind of work our way through the spawn without aggroing too much. Now the Magma Kuma are kind of slow, and they don't aggro that quickly a lot of the time, so you probably have fairly easy time getting to Evelyn. But if you don't, you know, maybe clean the spawn a little bit by just kind of repeatedly going up and just moving mobs around. But here is Evelyn. Died to, I don't know, lava, I guess. But from here, what we want to do is we want to keep heading south up the hill towards the volcano. And we want to get as far as we possibly can in this direction. Trying not to aggro mobs, basically. For a couple of reasons. One, you don't really want the decay on your vehicles because, you know, that seems to be on the up with this planetoid. Also, there could be people hunting here, and if you start aggroing all the mobs around, it's not going to be a fun time for them. So just bear that in mind. Right. So we've had a fairly clean run up to here. Actually, that's quite good. We need to go over this bridge. And now we're into the Volcreptor spawn. Actually, we don't need to go. I don't think we need to go over that bridge. What we can do here is dismount, pick up your vehicle, and then just run into the lava. There we go. Boom. Right. We should end up at Outpost Fallback. If we don't, then what you need to do is get further to the south, basically, and then revive. Yep, we're there. Operation Fallback. Very nice. I'm just going to get some heal on. And it's registered me as moving, even though I was stood perfectly still. Thank you. I don't understand how that works. I mean, it knows my vector hasn't changed, so I don't understand why it's registering as moving. From here, we want to head out to the right of the outpost, up this kind of grassy bank here, around the back of the mountain. We can see the Primal Elder Island over there that technically we shouldn't have access to just yet. I'm not sure how we're supposed to legitimately get access to that. However, it was possible to get there by respawn before they changed Fallback to be the default respawn point. Right, so now what we want to do is kind of head down this way. So we've gone up the grassy bank a bit. If you carry on round a bit more, you'll end up with a load of Araniatrox providers. But using your hover vehicle, and I can't stress this enough, a hover vehicle is your friend on this planet. And at least make one of those hover vehicles a Strider Mark II. You're welcome. And there is Rosalind, who died from fall damage, I think. Difficult to say. But yeah, they died from fall damage. I'm not sure how they're dead because none of us can die. We just revive. So I'm not sure how that works. So I'm not sure why they're permanently dead. From here, just try and get back to a TP. I think it's easiest just to follow the back of the volcano down to Hedwig, and then from there we can go to Ganon, and then try and tackle the scientist there. That's Nikola. That one's tricky. Okay, not gonna lie, that one is tricky. But yeah, just go around the back of the volcano, and you should end up at Hedwig. You'll probably come across some Thyroid elites. I covered this on the TP run video. This is pretty much the same route for that. But if you die there, you'll just respawn at Hedwig anyway, so it's not a big deal. As you can see, I revived back at Hedwig. So we're going to go through the transport tube over to Ganon. And here we are at Ganon. What we want to do is head over to this, the Priminaut Peninsula. Now, the Priminauts in here are big. Alright. They're big. So bear that in mind. You may struggle as a lower end player to get this one. So if that's the case, try and organize a posse to go through there with. You know, with some higher level players, and then hopefully you can get it that way. So we go through the entrance here, and we're going to start seeing Priminaut red dots now. There we go. Now the ones here are not as tough, but they are still pretty damn tough. We're looking at 162 Elder Acolyte there. There's actually a group of people farming them at the moment. This road actually tends to be fairly clear of the mobs. There are the occasional red dot there. But yeah, sometimes it's pretty clear. Now, the problem you're going to have is at this point, right? We've got Elder Exalted, level 199. There are oracles as well, which are pretty big. And I'm going to be honest with you, they hit like trucks, and they have this weird kind of frenzy mode where they kind of growl and then they start hitting much quicker. This is where you get your Strider Mark II out again, or an other cliff climbing vehicle. So we're going to head up here and we're going to pulse. It's not great for the visuals, but we're going to pulse, slowly pulse our way up the hill to avoid backflipping. Backflipping is, a lot of it's just lag. And it's just like a visual bug. But sometimes you actually do backflip and it's not fun. You just, you know, incur unnecessary damage to your vehicle. There's another cube down here. We haven't figured out what they do yet, how they work. Maybe that gets opened up in a later release, but yeah. So you just want to carry along the tops of the kind of hills here, the mountains, peaks, whatever. And then what you're going to have to do is get yourself into this spot here. There's a little bit of green on the side of the mountain. Just here. And then what you're going to want to do is straight shot it down to Nikola, dismount your vehicle, don't worry about picking it up, just get out your vehicle, run, grab the scientist, And if you can, then pick up your vehicle. If you can't, you know. Doing reasonable. I'm running AP66 on top of Gorgon Perfected, and they were doing a lot less damage there. Interesting. So anyway, we're not going to HDNA. We're going to revive back at Ganon. And from Ganon, we're going to go on and go back to A.R.I.S for arguably one of the toughest ones to get to. Or the toughest one to get to. Okay, we are back at A.R.I.S. I'm going to go for the scientist called Ynes. We're going to head over the bridge. I'm going to run over because sometimes the hoverboards and stuff get a bit sketchy. Now this, you're going to have to be very careful with. Either you go out with a big posse of strong players, so you can handle the bots that are around here. Otherwise, you have to go slowly, and just take your time and, you know, wait for the spawn to be just right. Right, be careful here. This tree, it actually, its extents are like out to here, so you're gonna have to go this way around it. It's kind of weird. Now you can see red dots already on the radar. Those are like level 9 and 10 destroyers. Pretty big mobs. But what we want to do is hug the cliffs as much as we can around the outside of the spawn. Just like this. And as you can see, we've already got a problem. There is a red dot right in front of us. So what I'm going to do is go back the other way a little bit and be patient. Now, if I stand here for long enough, then hopefully the bot just moves. As you can see, the bot is moving on its own accord now. Is that enough? I don't think that's enough. But if you wait long enough, they do kind of... It's kind of weird. In certain spawns, bots or mobs tend to move away from you rather than towards you, which is kind of beneficial. It helps you kind of get around these kind of areas, but I'm going to be less patient and I'm going to get rid of it because I need to get on. But yeah, you can be patient and just wait for it to move. Okay, that dealt with that guy. We'll get our vehicle back out and then hope that the spawn is more favorable down the other end, although I can see another red dot straight away. But we just basically keep hugging this cliff. Like so. Yeah, there's a bot right there. And what we want to do is kind of go around the spawn like this. Now, I might end up aggroing mobs here, but I'm just trying to get around quickly as possible. But the idea really is that you just wait. You wait for the mobs to move. Once they're on, you know, once they're visible, they start moving around. We just keep going around. Now we can start to see the edges of the crater that the scientist is in. We just keep moving around like so. And then we have kind of an ingress point here. Now down here there's a lot of bots. What I would recommend doing, you could either YOLO it down there in the vehicle, or you could just run down like this. I'm gonna do this, fully heal, and then just run down. I mean, I don't really need to do this because I could probably take a look, and that bot just spawned there and it's already aggroed on me. But run down, grab the scientist, and then, you know, accept your punishment for interfering in the spawn. We revived from there back at A.R.I.S. That was Ynes. It's tricky, you might need help, so just bear that in mind for that particular one. Now from here we're going to head round to Edwin, transit base Edwin, And this, I think, typically should be the final one, but you might end up doing this one before Ynes, to be honest, because Ynes is hard. Okay, we're back at Edwin. Let's get in our vehicle. I'm going to heal, actually, just because the entrance to the next section is filled with Morlatron, and sometimes they're not tightly bunched in their spawn. They might be a bit all over the place, so we're going to head up that way. Right, so we head up the grass ramp from Edwin. Actually away from the waypoint, which seems counterintuitive, but then we're going to hang a left here, keep going up the kind of grassy valley. And then we're going to aim for this grass ramp here. Now, this is going to take us up to the Verderon Alpha, Hardened and Alpha, or Veteran and Alpha spawn. I can't remember what it is. And Morlatron Prime spawn. Here we go. Primes evolved. There's also, yeah, Elite. Yeah, there's a few elites in there. Foreman Johnson appears here as well. You've got the Omega there as well. So different varieties there. But what you typically want to do is kind of head between the spawns. However, on this occasion, we've been dealt a bit of a duff card because there's an elite sat in our path. So we're going to have to go and deal with that. So you may need to do some spawn cleaning before you come up here. Like so, and I think there's another straggler as well. But if you hug this wall, this cliff wall here on the left, if you go that way around the Morlatron spawn, you're more likely to aggro a mob anyway. It's just on this occasion it's been a bit bad this side. I think people possibly have aggroed them, and that's why they're a bit out of position. So yeah, you might need a few attempts to come up here while you clean the spawn a little bit and get them away from the entrance. There's no turret here, unfortunately, so yeah, you're not saved by getting to the door. Anyway, the code here is boobies written as on a calculator, but backwards first, then front ways. So 531 8008 8008 135, and through we go. Right, so we're the other side of the door now, and down this way you can see another cube. One of the scrap heap bosses appears down there. I'm not entirely sure what procs him though. A bit weird. Let's put the Gorgon back on for a minute. Because this spawn is filled with Armax cow and bull stalkers. So, which is a little nod to the area we're about to find. So what we want to do is just keep following the way marker, dealing with the cows and bulls. If you can't deal with these, you might want to play around with just kind of coming up here, aggroing them all in like a pit bull or something, and then just dragging them all off to the south end of this this area. You know, Armax aren't that hard, so you know, a lot of you won't have that much problem with them. But get to this waypoint marker here, and you will find, as you look over the cliff, there's a nice little path down here. So we just jump down. like so. Keep following it round, and you will end up in the mushroom cave. Here we go. There's a purple crystal in the ceiling. I don't know what that's for. You can't shoot it. Standing directly beneath it doesn't do anything. So I'm not really sure what this is all about. This apparently is from Diablo 3, I think. Called this from the secret cow level. But anyway, in this cave is our last scientist. What was his name? Gregor? I think it was Gregor. So yeah, there's the scientist, and then here is access to the bovine instance. It was an instance, it's been changed now to just an off position place on the map. And so when you go into here, you are taken, let's go there now, you're taken to the far south of the map, all the way down there. And so this is the cow instance right here. When you exit again, you're taken to a random location on the map. So yeah, just bear that in mind. Let's go and see where we end up now. And it has put us with the drones and coordinators above the cryomusoid spawn near Delphine in the tower. Whoa, no, I didn't want to fall down. Oh, damn. Okay, well, that's that then. I wanted to go inside. There you go. I don't think there's any terminals in there. There's no orange dots. But yeah, that pretty much concludes the video for the Hidden Scientist mission. Again, like I said, waypoints will be in the description, so snag them from there. Get them all on your map and then gradually work your way on them. Like I said, you will probably need some assistance to get Ynes around the big destroyer spawn, unless you're a very strong player. And that's going to be pretty much it for this video. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the like button, and if you aren't subscribed already, please consider hitting that subscribe button for more Entropia content. That's it from me. Bye bye for now.
Consistently stuck. He hunts, he crafts, he mines, he schemes, but profits a ghost.